I'm Jill Angelo, host of the G-Spot. I speak with the most forward-thinking experts in the medical and wellness industries, all in an effort to bring awareness to women's hormonal and vaginal health. When we feel fabulous in our bodies, we are more confident, we have healthier relationships, and we have better sex. Here's to a happy, healthy vagina. I'm here today with Michelle Combs, owner of Rubber Shoes in Hell, a blog that offers straight talk about being a woman in midlife and menopause. Her humorous, truth-telling self has brought her to the readers of Good Housekeeping, In the Powder Room, Scary Mommy, and the Huffington Post, just to name a few. We hear from many Geneve readers and listeners that honesty, a little humor, and finding your tribe is the best medicine for managing through midlife and menopause. And it's apparent that Michelle probably has found all three. So that's why we'd like to bring her to you today. So welcome, Michelle. Thanks for joining us.
Hi, thank you for having me.
Tell us why Rubber Shoes in Hell? What was the inspiration behind your blog?
There's actually a story to that. I had a blog before Rubber Shoes in Hell called Rage Your Way Thin because I was on a weight loss journey and I did awesome. It was, I did everything wrong, but eventually got to where I wanted to be. And I wrote about it. And then I found that I had a lot of other things I wanted to talk about that really didn't have to do with fitness. So I knew I wanted to start another blog. I just didn't know that I knew it. And I have a friend at my old job, and we both just hated our cubicles, and we would instant message all day long, and they were always hilarious conversations. And one day, just in our messages, she said something like she was going to wear flip-flops when she went to hell, and I typed back, "You would wear rubber shoes in hell." And as soon as I typed that, I was like, that is the name of my new blog.
Well, that's awesome. Well, between your previous blog and Rubber Shoes in Hell, you obviously find comfort in really honestly talking about what's on your mind and happening in your life. What kind of, is it a release for you or why do you do it?
It is a release. It's also permission that I've given myself to go ahead and be genuine, because I hid who I was for most of my life. I mean, it wasn't until I would say even the last 10 years that I started even trying to decide who I was, because I was always what someone else wanted me to be, and that would be what I would project. And I found that when I started writing that I was hearing my actual voice, that was who I was. And then I decided, we're all gonna die. I'm going to die. So I might as well just go ahead and be who I am. And writing in my own voice has been very freeing to me. So that's why.
That's fantastic. I love the notion, like, we're all going to die. And it sounds morbid, but it certainly gives you the sense that, you know what, live life with no regrets and just kind of recognize that honesty and be who you are.
Right. And it's so much more fun.
Let's go to the next question. One thing, Michelle, that, I think you've done so well is, you've assembled your tribe. You talked about your dear friend in the cubicle next to you, that you were texting back and forth, and you both kind of kept each other sane. Tell us a little bit about the importance of assembling a tribe, especially as you're a woman going into midlife.
I think that it's very important to find people who are like-minded, people who get your sense of humor or your quirks or understand that you're flawed and they still want to be around you. I think it's very important to find people who understand who you are. And I think that is limited to what you're willing to show them. And I don't think any of us really show exactly who we are all the time, but it's nice to find people that you can trust enough to start easing into that and let them see who you are. And I think that's what everybody needs in a tribe. I think everybody needs, it doesn't have to be a big group of people. It can be a small group of people, but you just have to have somebody that has got your back and you've got theirs, and you trust them. It's almost like having a spouse or something. You have friends that you just know are going to be there for you, and I think that's exceedingly important.
Well, I think too, as you've put your voice out there, and you speak so honestly and with incredible humor and truth, and you kind of take the gloves off. I'm sure that has made you really accessible to women everywhere. Can you tell us a little bit about how your kind of online tribe has grown over time, and what you've seen kind of work and not work with making women feel like they've got a person in you to kind of almost hear them?
How my tribe has grown online and through writing, through Rubber Shoes in Hell and other projects that I've done. I've met some amazing people. I've met some bloggers that just blow my mind, and it's a community that is so welcoming and accepting that it's inspirational. I know a woman who, she just had an article, I think it was in the Huffington Post or something, where she spoke very honestly about her drug addiction. But before she did this article, like a year before, when she was still addicted, she had a group of people, and I was one of them, that she was saying, hey, I'm using drugs and this is really horrible. And nobody judged her. Nobody said she was a terrible mother. We were all just like, we know you can do this and you're going to be good. And she is now, she's awesome. So I think having people like that in your life, the writing is great. Connecting with people is great, but getting to know people and knowing that they're going to be there to help you is just amazing. And the other community, and I would be so remiss not to mention this, is my comments community. I've had people, the same people there for years at this point, and they feel like my friends. And I've talked about that a little bit in blog posts, and it's like we're having a long conversation, only I always pick the topic, I do most of the talking, and then you guys say your things, so it's kind of like I'm monopolizing the whole conversation. But I so much look forward to every single comment and interacting and connecting with people, especially when they tell me that I've said or done something that made them feel better or helped them in some way. So that's an unexpected outgrowth of blogging. I didn't know that was going to happen. And it ends up being more important to me sometimes even than the creating part.
Well, you're obviously touching an audience of women that need to hear what you're saying. And, I can guess many of those, are in menopause or midlife. And when you typically read about menopause on the internet, it's a time for misery and mourning and, or pump you up kind of through a little bit of a pep talk. But your blog tends to be more funny and even on the absurd side of menopause, the real honest look. Tell us a little bit about that, and how do you keep yourself so true, honest, and truly funny and engaging as a result?
I've always been a huge fan of absurd humor from the time I was a child. I love absurdity. And really, if you look at almost anything in life in a certain perspective, it's absurd. I mean, it's ridiculous. And I find that the easiest way to write humor is to just say the exact truth, like exactly what happened. And it's always absurd. I don't want to be miserable, and I don't want to sit around and mourn. I'm glad I'm not dead. I mean, really, if we don't go through menopause, then that means we didn't make it that far. I'd rather just go ahead and go through the menopause and still be like really excited about being alive, because even though sometimes life is really hard and painful and like I have anxiety issues, so I deal with that all the time, I still don't want to mourn any more than I have to.
You say on your blog, I'm digging finding my voice. Do you feel like you found it? And how would you describe it?
A little nasally and raspy. I don't know that I've found what my voice will be. In fact, I'm sure I haven't, because we just continue to evolve, at least I do. It seems like I am faster now than I did probably through my 30s and 40s. So I don't know that I found what my exact voice is. I think that that's still coming, but I am enjoying the ride. I mean, I've gotten to a point in my life, and this is something I could never do ever, where I like myself. I never liked myself. I thought I was an asshole. I thought I was like dumb and kind of ugly and, just was always down on myself. And I get to the point where I can no longer bear children. I'm like, I am freaking awesome, man. I am just great. And I love it. It feels good to feel good about yourself, but I don't always. And I think as long as I keep moving forward, that my voice will continue to change. Probably still be nasally and raspy, though. I mean, that's probably not going to change.
It's good. Is there a favorite menopause or midlife story that just you tell over and over again?
I tell a lot of stories over and over again because I'm old and I repeat myself a lot. But I think my favorite menopause story was really a post-menopause story. I didn't want to turn 40. I thought 40 sounded like saggy and depressing and life would not be fun anymore, and I just dreaded it. And then I got up to 50 and I was like, that was complete bullshit, man. I mean, life is just getting better and better and I love it and it's great. And I'm going into menopause now and this really sucks because I'm kind of sweaty and sometimes I wake up 27 times in a night and I sweat and I'm cold at the same time, which is ridiculous. You should not be able to sweat and be cold at the same time, but I was battening down the hatches, man. I'm ready for it to just really ramp up. And I go to the doctor and they start reading these numbers and they were like, your blah, blah, blah numbers show that you're post-menopausal. And I was like, wait, so I'm in menopause right now. And the nurse was like, I said post. I'm like, well, I know you said post, but that would mean I was finished with men. I'm done. She was like, yeah, that's what that means. And I'm thinking, no, that's elderly. If you're not in menopause anymore, you are elderly. That's for an old person, and I'm definitely still in menopause, and the nurse was obviously wrong. And I argued with her about it, and she's looking at me like, you're just insane. Why would you want that? And I'm thinking, that was it? I mean, I was waiting for like having to change my pajamas in the middle of the night because I soaked through them because I sweated so much, or I would start peeing on myself when I laugh or cough or whatever. And those things didn't happen. And my skin's not crepey. And, I'm obviously still in menopause because postmenopause is for old people and I'm not. I am still middle-aged. So, yeah, that one was a little tough to take. I was not happy with I took getting my AARP invitation better than I did being told I was postmenopausal.
You were told you were postmenopausal, but you're still experiencing the symptoms of menopause. And so you're like, what the hell? Like, I'm supposed to be done with this.
Exactly. And see, that's what I thought that's how it worked. But I still, like, sweat and I'm cold and, hot in the middle of the night and cranky and, all the things that we do when we're, I guess, also postmenopausal. Although I'm still not convinced. I think she might have been wrong. Pretty sure she was wrong.
Well, I've been sweating at night in my pajamas and then freezing like crazy since I was about 34. So I totally get your pain. We're all like so crazy different and you have to laugh about it. I sleep great. I just get woken up a lot and change my pajamas and go back to bed.
It's interesting. I just really do dig the aging process. There's some physical things that I don't like. It's not so much appearance except for those wiry white eyebrow hairs. I hate those. The other stuff is I just don't really care about that anymore. I'm kind of cool with it. I'm who I am and this is the package I'm in, and I don't really care about that anymore. So I don't know if that's menopause. It's not menopause, it's aging, but I'm not complaining. I'll even take the night sweats.
Well, as a woman with wisdom, what would you what would you share with even the 40-something-year-old self that didn't want to be 40, or women in their 30s? Like, do you have basic core advice that you tend to give out now that you're at an age where you kind of don't care and it's really freeing?
I think that if I can give advice to especially younger people, I don't know that I would have listened because I'm stubborn, but just stop worrying about how you look. Just stop. You look the way you look. That's it. And it's beautiful and it's fine. And you don't have to be anybody else's picture. You are who you are, and you know who you are. You live in your head. You know who you are. You know your body is what it is. You know your face is what it is. Accept it. Move on. And don't spend fortunes on makeup and clothes and handbags, because you could travel and save your money and retire early, because these things don't matter. And they really, truly don't matter. It's nice to have some nice things. Not that you shouldn't treat yourself as that you've got a handbag you really want to have, but it can't be all about that. And it can't be looking good for other people all the time, because it's exhausting, and you can't do it because somebody's not going to like the way you look. It doesn't matter what you do. So I think that if people could just be more accepting of themselves, women especially, because we're taught everything about everything teaches us that we suck, that we should look better and we should smell better and everything. And it was so stacked against us. Even more important than that, I think that it is vital that women stand together, that we stop tearing each other down, that we stop with the snide, catty little comments. If somebody is 40 pounds overweight and wants to wear a pair of leggings, who cares? Stop talking about the size of her ass. Stop rolling your eyes. Stop pointing and laughing. We have got to stand together. That is the package that person is in. They choose to put leggings on. That's cool. It doesn't hurt anybody. Just be kind to each other and accept each other, because if we could band together, we would be a force to be reckoned with. There would be nothing that would stop us, because we don't have a lot of the ego problems that I see in other people that aren't female. If we could just really be good to each other and build each other up instead of tearing each other down, we wouldn't have so many of the problems that we have as women. And we do have problems. We are treated very poorly. There's misogyny all over the place. We all know it's true. And we contribute to it by walling ourselves off or judging each other. So I think that's very important. I think that if women stood together and accepted each other and built each other up, that it would do nothing but good for everybody, for all the humans.
Yeah, I'm with you. And do you see it happening? Do you see women starting to band together?
I do. I think I've seen a lot of that happen very recently. Obviously, with the marches on January 21st, that was 7 continents, man. I mean, that was a lot of women that, not just women, I realize, but that was a lot of women that got together and said, hey, we're all going to stand together and stick up for each other. And I think that there's issues that still have to be hammered out, but I think that there's like hands reaching out to each other that I'm seeing now that's very encouraging, and I'm very hopeful.
I'm with you. We're in such an interesting, just political and cultural climate that I think we're going to see a lot of change, and I hope it's good change if we all participate and band together. So, Michelle, what's next for you? Because it doesn't sound like you're slowing down in any sort of way.
I'm not. I've been like living my entire life by the seat of my pants. I don't have plans. I just kind of go with whatever happens, and if I could go back in time, I would change that and maybe have a plan and do things in a more linear fashion than kind of bouncing all over the place, but I didn't. So that's where I am, and it's the same with the writing. I don't really have any plans. I I just write my blog. And then I found from writing the blog that I could submit other places. And sometimes people pay me to do that. And sometimes I get to go on a stage and read an essay, or I did stand up at a conference, you know, and it's all because I've been blogging, but I don't have a plan. I don't really know what's next. I do have a lot of projects that I've started. I've even tried a little bit of fiction, which I would die before I'd show anybody right now because it's not very good. I need a lot of goofing off time because there's television and there's like some really good shows. So I guess what's in store for me is I'm gonna try to work on my book projects. Sometimes it's easier to write a blog post though, because that's like 750 words, 1,000 words, and that kind of feeds into my attention deficit disorder, and it feeds that need to get something out of my head, or I feel like I have something funny to say or a clever turn of phrase that I really want to get down, and then I'm like, okay, I'm happy I did that, and then I move on, and then I say, well, you know, you have that book that you want to write, but that's like super hard. I mean, you have to think about the same thing for a long time, and I'm not really good at that.
I think sometimes when there is no plan, the stories are better, because you take life as it comes, and it's just rich with things that you just didn't see coming. Well, thank you, Michelle. We love what you're doing. I want to direct everyone to Rubber Shoes in Hell. It's www.rubbershoesinhell.com. You'll see Michelle's rubber shoes there right on the front page. And gosh, we wish you all the best, Michelle, and whatever's next. And please keep the stories coming, even if they're blog posts, because I think it's, from what we can see by your readers as well as us here at Genève, you really bring great honesty and some great humor to people's lives every day. And it's what women need as we all band together and support each other. So thank you for joining us today.
Thank you so much for having me. It was a lot of fun. It was great to talk to you.
Thanks for listening to the G-Spot. We welcome your feedback at geneve.com. That's GENNEVE.com. You can follow us on Facebook, where you will see more on show notes, and subscribe to us on iTunes, and you'll never miss an episode. The G-Spot is produced by Shannon Perry. Theme music by Smitty. And from all of us at Genève, think happy, healthy vaginas.